You've arrived at the Candlelit Archive, a place that does not appear on maps and does not exist during the day, only when the world grows quiet and the thoughts in your mind begin to slow does it open for you. Tonight, you have been granted access to one of its quietest rooms, a story that was never meant to be rushed. So, you do not need to stay awake for it. In fact, you are not expected to. Just listen as long as you can and let the rest fade on its own. Late at night, when the house has become quiet enough to hear its own breathing, there are certain places that begin to appear. Places hidden during the day by noise, by movement, by the bright certainty of ordinary hours. A staircase that feels longer after midnight. A room that seems larger in darkness. A window that reflects not only the room behind you, but something softer and farther away. And sometimes, very rarely, a hallway. A long, silent hall with dim lamps along the walls and a door waiting at the very end. No one remembers first discovering it. It is simply there one evening after a particularly heavy day or a particularly sleepless night. A quiet corridor appearing where no corridor existed before. The hall does not frighten anyone. It is too calm for that. Too still. Too patient. Its silence is not empty. It is protective. Like snow falling late at night. Like a library after closing. Like the moment just before sleep arrives and the mind loosens its grip on the world. At the far end of the hall, beyond the pools of amber light, beyond the soft shadows, beyond the hush, waits a door. The entrance to the hall is never dramatic. There is no hidden passage swinging open, no thunder, no sudden mystery. Only a small shift, a moment when the air changes, a moment when the house seems quieter than houses are supposed to be. Perhaps it begins beside a staircase where the shadows gather softly. Or beside a linen closet left slightly open. Or perhaps behind a half-forgotten doorway at the end of an upstairs landing. Wherever it appears, the feeling is always the same. The sense that the night has gently unfolded another layer, of itself. The hallway stretches forward with deep blue carpet beneath the feet. The carpet softens every step until walking becomes soundless. Along the walls hang narrow lamps with shaded glass. Their glow is low and golden, not bright enough to wake the mind, only bright enough to guide it slowly forward. The walls themselves are paneled in dark wood, smooth with age, and every so often there is a framed picture, but the pictures are difficult to fully see. They seem to change slightly whenever looked at too closely. A shoreline at dusk, a rain-covered window, an empty reading chair beside a fire, forest path disappearing into fog. Nothing in the hall demands attention. Everything inside seems designed to soften attention instead. Thoughts slow here. Breathing deepens. Even memory becomes quieter. Far overhead, the ceiling disappears into shadow. The hallway feels impossibly long. Longer than the house should allow, but not endless, because somewhere ahead, very far ahead, the door waits. A dark shape beneath a single lantern, still closed, still silent. And somehow, even from this distance, it already feels familiar. Along the silent hall are many small doors. None of them are locked. None of them require choosing. Still, now and then, one stands slightly open, as though inviting a tired mind to rest for a little while. Beyond the first door is a room filled with rain sounds, not storms, only gentle rain. Rain against rooftops. Rain sliding through gutters. Rain tapping softly on distant glass. The room contains a single armchair beside a sleeping fireplace. Nothing else. The chair faces the sound of rain, the way flowers face sunlight. Naturally, quietly. Another room holds a long table covered in folded blankets. Each blanket seems woven from a different kind of evening. One feels like winter snow outside warm windows. One feels like listening to wind and trees. One feels like the heavy calm that comes after crying quietly and finally becoming still. Farther down the hall is a room with shelves with clocks. Hundreds of them but none display a correct time. Some have stopped entirely. Others move backward. Others drift so slowly their hands barely seem to move at all. And strangely, inside this room that feels comforting because here time is no longer something that must be chased. Another door reveals a tiny indoor garden. Moonflowers bloom in pale clusters. Dark ivy climbs stone walls. A narrow fountain sends water into a quiet basin below. The sound is soft enough to almost disappear. The garden smells faintly of lavender and wet earth. And above it all hangs a painted ceiling filled with slow-moving stars. Not real stars, only painted ones. But somehow they drift anyway. The silent hum continues. Lamp after lamp, door after door, and all the while the farther end remains distant. The door waiting beneath the lantern never seems closer or farther away. It simply waits patiently, as though understanding that reaching it is not important, only moving gently toward it. At a certain point, The hall becomes quieter still, so quiet that even thoughts begin speaking softly. The usual sharpness of the mind grows blurred at the edges. Questions become less urgent. Memories become lighter. The day itself begins to feel far away. The lamps dim slightly. Their golden light deepens into amber. The shadows soften. Nothing startles here. Nothing interrupts. The silence is complete, but never lonely, because the hall itself feels aware, not alive exactly, only gently watchful, like an old house making sure everyone inside is finally resting. Halfway down the corridor stands a long window. Beyond it lies no landscape at all, only darkness. But it is a beautiful darkness, velvet darkness, endless darkness filled with slow drifting specks of silver like distant snowfall. Looking into it, the mind stops trying to understand things. There is nothing there to solve, nothing to organize, nothing to prepare for, only space, soft, endless space. A small table rests beneath the window. On it sits a bowl of keys, dozens of them, silver keys, brass keys, tiny keys, heavy old iron keys, each one smooth with age, but none are labeled, and somehow it feels clear that none are needed tonight. The keys remain untouched. All remains still. The hall continues breathing softly around them all. And somewhere ahead, the final door waits quietly at the end of the corridor. Closer now, though still far enough away to feel dreamlike. Eventually, the hall begins to narrow. The lamps grow fewer. The carpet darkens to the deep blue of midnight water. And overhead, the silence gathers thicker and softer, like falling snow. Only one light remains ahead now. A lantern hanging above the final door. Its glow flickers gently inside rippled amber glass. The light is warm, ancient feeling, steady. The closer the door becomes, the stranger the hallway feels. Not frightening, only distant, as though the waking world has drifted very far away behind. The sounds of ordinary life are gone now. No clocks, no voices, no passing cars, no lists waiting for morning. Only the lantern, only the hush, only the slow, quiet movement of breath. The door itself is made of dark wood, simple wood, no carvings, no symbols, only a smooth brass handle, worn faintly bright by countless gentle hands. Above the handle is a small keyhole, but no key is needed. The bowl of keys far behind was never meant for this door. Because this door does not open through effort, only through stillness. And so nothing happens at first. The lantern sways softly overhead. The silence deepens. The hallway waits. And gradually, without force, without sound, the door begins to open inward. Beyond the door is not another room, not exactly. It is something gentler than a room, something quieter, a wide open darkness filled with drifting silver light. No walls, soft distance stretching endlessly outward, like standing inside a dream that has forgotten to become frightened. The floor beneath the feet feels warm and steady, though it cannot fully be seen. Above, silver lights move slowly through the darkness, like reflections on deep water. Everything here moves slowly, even time, even thought. Far away, there are shapes, soft hills, perhaps, or clouds, or folded blankets resting beneath moonlight. It becomes impossible to tell, and eventually it no longer matters. Because this place beyond the door asks for nothing at all. No understanding, no memory, no effort, only rest, only softness, only the slow unraveling of wakefulness. The silent hall remains somewhere behind now. The lamps, the rain room, the clocks, the garden, all growing dim and distant, and ahead only quiet, endless quiet, kind quiet. The lantern above the door has nearly gone out now. its last amber light fades gently into darkness. The hall sleeps. The rooms sleep. The silent house beyond it sleeps. And here, beyond the door, at the end of the hall, there is nothing left to carry, nothing left to solve, nothing left to become. The darkness is warm. The silver lights drift slowly overhead, and somewhere far beyond, the final door closes quietly without a sound. Now there is only stillness. Only breath. Only the soft, floating feeling of the mind loosening gently from the world. The night is deep now. Deep and patient. And sleep. Slow, quiet sleep. Is finally very near. And now, the Candlelit Archive grows quiet again. The books return to stillness. The lanterns continue their gentle watch. And the story is safely put away until it is needed once more. You do not need to finish this moment awake. You do not need to hold on to anything from it. Only rest. Only slow down. Only